The Jackson Hole event has any which ways been a very important one, especially from a macroeconomic perspective. Every year, economists wait in line to see what the governor, the chief of one of the most important and premier central banks of the world, is going to talk about when it comes to his economic outlook or her economic outlook for the years to come, and what are the different conditions. But this time around, the Jackson Hole Symposium is going to assume even more importance, because it's coming just a week after the release of the FOMC minutes, which were the most talked about event last week. The minutes, which were released on the 18th of August, showed that most policymakers were in favor of beginning to scale back the monthly purchase of the $120 billion of treasury and mortgage-backed securities. So essentially, we are talking about the possibility of tapering that $120 billion bond buying program that's currently in place by the central bank. It was put in place when the pandemic first hit. That's in March 2020. It's been on since then. But now, of course, many, of the FOMC members believe that the conditions do look conducive for growth to sustain, even without this liquidity push that was being put in place by the FOMC. Of course, at the same time, some policy members also argued that the spread of the COVID Delta variant should be a factor in determining the timing. Interestingly, investors were looking out for the Jackson Hole Symposium, which is, by the way, in Wyoming. And interestingly, the concerns around the pandemic itself have prompted the Fed Reserve to move this annual gathering online. It was supposed to be in offline mode, but because the CDC raised the health warning, they've actually moved it back to it becoming an online event. So it's an interesting turn of events, really, which is all the more reason why the Delta variant could play an important role in the Jackson Hole Symposium, meeting, in the commentary by the Chairman Jerome Powell, and also how much of a determinant will this be in the future tapering policy. It's going to be a gradual taper, but the question is, will we get hints of it on the 26th, 28th of August, that when the event is going to be held? That's going to be something crucial to watch out for. If in case there are hints with respect to the timeline, there is a possibility that we'll see the dollar index rise once again. It's right now, of course, cooled off a little bit. Now, Goldman Sachs believes that, the chairman will acknowledge the strong employment gains in the recent months. He will talk about the downside risks as well posed by the Delta variant, and they see a 45% tapering coming in by November 2021. The theme of the conference, by the way, is macroeconomic policy in an uneven economy. He will be giving the speech at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Friday, which means we'll get to hear from him in the wee hours of Saturday morning. This is one event that we'll be watched out for and will have an impact on the dollar, on commodities and equities as well.